And so it was said that if the pillars of the world shall fall, darkness will descend upon all that lives. From the Book of the Dark. Man did not heed this warning. The sacred cosmic tree burned to cinder. And so the darkness came, claiming all that was bright and living in Thea. When all hope was lost, after a century without light, the sun rose once more. Thea awakened from her dark slumber, and you along with her. But Thea is not the world that once was. The age of darkness weakens, but it is far from over. Life took its shy roots, yet death will not release its grip easily. While the sun keeps some of the evil in check during the fleeting days, at night, the creatures of darkness roam free and angry, unwilling to give up their dominion over the land. It is up to you to find a way to rebuild Thea, banish the darkness, and strengthen mankind.
Well, that was the intro. Hey guys, John Luxley here. Just want to show you this game. It's what I've been playing lately. I have about 10 hours in it so far. Thea the Awakening. Now this is the new one, the Return of the Giants expansion. There is another DLC actually. So first things, what is Thea the Awakening? And that's honestly a little hard to define. The store page defines it as like a 4X civilization type game with survival mechanics and card battles and crafting and some other stuff. And that's honestly, I'm not really sure that is totally accurate. Honestly, it feels, and this is going to sound weird to say, actually feels more like an XCOM game. And Jack's now standing next to the microphone. But yeah, it does feel more like an XCOM game, and I'll show you a little bit of the gameplay here in a second. And you'll kind of see why I say it's essentially XCOM. But the first thing to notice is that if you have looked at the game before, if you have considered the getting this, like the reason I looked at this is because it was billed as co-op multiplayer. You notice there's no multiplayer menu here. One of the big complaints that I'm going to have about this game is that the interface, and in fact the whole game itself, is pretty clunky, and it starts right at the title screen. So for multiplayer, it's not this. If you're seeing this, you can't play multiplayer. This is the single player executable only. You actually have a second executable just for the multiplayer. So a little bit clunky. There's as far as I know, there's no way to go from this to the other one without quitting and doing that. So hopefully they'll improve upon that. I know they're actually releasing the second one at the end of the month. So I would assume they've made a lot of quality of life improvements. All right, well, let's jump in, and I'll kind of show you guys a little bit about this game itself. So we're going to continue. This is my god that I've chosen. There's 6 to choose from, although you start with 2 and you have to, there's 8. Start with 2 unlocked, and you have to unlock the other 6 through your play. And that's kind of where, the store mentioned it's a roguelike as well, and that's essentially how the more you play, the more unlocks you get, essentially. So things like say Don't Starve or other roguelike games, they usually unlock more stuff, and this one does as well, but it also unlocks additional gods, and then those gods gain levels, and So they've basically taken the score mechanic from basically all of your civilizations and endless legends and that, and they've actually made score valuable, more valuable than just, say, a leaderboard. So this is the game. This is basically the game. It is. We're on sort of the medium graphic settings. Jack is being very distracting, trying to stay right next to the microphone and back and forth the whole time. So hopefully that won't be too bad. But okay, Jack, you need to figure out something. So yeah, this is basically the map. You have your town, and something that threw me for a loop at first was you only have one town. That's it. As far as I know, you don't actually have the ability to build any more. And Jack's rubbing his face against the microphone right now, so hopefully you guys don't hear that. But if you do, that's the weird sound that you're hearing. So we'll just take a look at the settlement. It is kind of clunky, but I'm going to complain about this game a lot. I'm just going to put that up front, but I do like it. And even now I have this compulsion to play, which is probably what I will do after finishing this recording here. So you have your production, gather, craft, or construct. So basically gather materials, craft weapons and armor, and then construct buildings, of which you can have 10. You have all your people in the village. You assign them to your different resources that you can harvest, which in this case is vegetables and wood within the circle. I don't know if you can actually expand this. I hope so. The only other way to get materials, as far as I'm aware, in the game is you create a party and you send it out, and then you have them camp like these guys are doing right now. So they're camping and they're getting, what are they getting? Straw. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember why I need the straw. I need it for crafting something, weapons and armor. But this is basically it. This is my party. All the weapons and items that I have, you can show which is equipped and which is not. Kind of helps with the clutter a little bit. Each of them has a weight limit. And then this is kind of where the XCOM thing comes in. So each of these characters are permadeath. You only get one, and getting more, it's not the same as like building units. So Civilization, you're like, oh, I want to build another settler. I want to build an army. You can't. You straight up cannot. You have the people that you start with, and building your buildings will give you like the cabbage field. You'd think it would actually be vegetables, but no, it grants you a random chance to get a baby. And babies go into your inventory, and then randomly, based on your RNG, they will grow into an adult. And once they grow up, you can choose a class for them. Gatherer, crafter, or warrior. And then if you build some of the buildings you can build, will let you do other classes. For example, like I have the totem. I guess magic is rare. I'm not, unfortunately, haven't got super far into the game. But magic is rare and powerful, or so I'm told. But if you have the totem, when your children grow up, they could be witches or sages. So, right. And then they have all these different stats. Some are granted by your gear. This ring gives you distraction and armor. The sword gives you damage, shielding, and poison. I think the materials do have an effect, but obviously that does depend on whether they're crafted or not, whether they're good quality or not. Health is also a attribute, and unfortunately how it does work is that the stats that you gain are based on level, this little experience meter right here, and that's for everybody across the board. So you find a monster wandering out in the field like this one, and you kill them, and then they give you experience. And if you level up, then everybody levels up. This expedition will level up these 4 people, and then your village will also level up. So that's kind of how that works. Although, see, I say level up, but it's not quite how that works. They just gain a random stat. Like this, look at this person, Slava. Level 3, lot of different stats. The level, I think, is based on the average of the 3 highest stats or something like that, or it could be Skyrim rules where each 10 counts. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's kind of how it is. And there's a little log, so if you need to know, like, these are the quests that I can have to do, that's not even a sentence, I don't think. These are the quests that I have, and all the different phases. So Herbalist Hut Part 1, Cosmic Tree, the 3 different parts. And this right here is actually where this game shines. This is probably my favorite part of the game. The writing and the quest system is great, like just straight up great. You get, well, I'll show you in a second. But yeah, you have choices, and your stats affect the choices that you're allowed. Now, part of why I do want to, why I continue the game instead of starting from the beginning is this stat right here, heavily poisoned. Poison gives wounds every turn and remains on you until you find a way to heal it. So wounds are not the same as life, right? So we do happen to have 3 wounds, and because of those 3 wounds, we do have 5 out of 8 health. But we can heal those. In fact, these are my villagers. They're in the village. So they heal 3 wounds per turn. The problem is, heavily poisoned gives you 3 wounds per turn. There was an event, and the following turn, all my people were poisoned. All my people in the village were poisoned, and there's basically nothing I can do. We had to choose between going for herbs and trying to find a spirit, but we couldn't do both because of the time. So I went for the herbs, failed that challenge because, well, my guys are all level 3, basically. I got 1 herb. I think this chick is healed, and all the rest are not. So they're all poisoned, which essentially means if they leave the village, or if they get attacked or anything and take more wounds, they could die. Because the chance of death is not dependent upon your actual health. The number of wounds affects your chances to die, and the more that you have, the greater your chance. So in a weird way, her with only 8 hit points means that if she were to get 8 wounds, she would have less of a chance of death than say, oh, these are all super weak, than this dude who has 16 health, and he's only level 4. So yeah, the stat system is a little bit weird. Now what I can do, and what I was planning on doing, was, so the herbalist hut is right here. I can basically pack up all these dudes and head here, and it'll take 2 turns to get there. On the 3rd turn, they'll basically all be dead. So I get there. Oh, it won't let me click on it or anything. But basically the herbalist, she won't heal poison for free. So you basically have to fight her, and that's the card battle, essentially. So I've been unsuccessful, and so basically if I take my people there and try and heal them and fail, they die. So you lose your whole village. That's not really fun. That's not really fun. So I'm going to end this game and all the turns that we've got. If you go to your current score, you can actually see how much. Oh, and here comes Manny too. Now both cats are sitting next to the microphone. So this is the amount of experience that you've gotten. It kind of breaks down the score and all that. Since I'm only playing on normal difficulty, I get 85% of the experience that I would. But it shows you, and I'm not going to get a level. Manny, you need to move because I can't see the screen. But yeah. Manny, please move. Okay, there he goes. Yeah, so, you know, you can always check your progress and see if you've gained a level or not. Level for your god, not character level, not the level of your soldiers or your people. So we'll end the game here. Boom. And this is kind of where the roguelike thing comes into play as well, right? So it's you can only have one save file. It's essentially Pokemon rules. One game goes on at a time, and if you choose to end it, then it tallies up your experience, and that's it. And then it gives you this, where you basically lose and the world ends again. Right, so new game. Here we go. Choose one of your 8 gods. So I've played with her a couple times, and so she is level 2. All your villagers get a +1 bonus to gathering. Cool. Pick Morena. My villagers will research faster. But here, they gather faster, which is good. You get more supplies, and then, you know, some can't gather at all, and so the +1 bonus makes them actually semi-useful. Alright, Mother Mokash. I'm probably messing that up, but it's fine. She's basically the Earth Goddess. Mother Earth, life, birth, and nature are your domain. You were once the supreme goddess ruling alongside Perun, but now everything has changed. The darkness devoured your beloved Thea and tarnished all life. You kept a handful of chosen worshippers alive in the bosom of your power, but they are all weakened, lost, and scared. You must do all you can to restore balance and keep your people alive. And then it loads. You know, you hit play. So we're going to kind of go through.
Is awakened. Welcome. No time to waste. You are a deity of the High Pantheon, and you must help your worshippers survive the darkness. So what now, you ask?
Right.
You
so they basically
divine,
start you
yes,
off.
But you have little power, and so you will know the world through your people.
So we could either skip the tutorial or not. But let's do it a little bit.
Messenger. Theodore, you can
Okay, improve the village. Okay, gather food.
Yes.
And check out my village. And you get 1 experience. Basically everything you do, every little step gives you a little bit of experience. Boom. So here we are. There's your and you can kind of see the clunkiness already a little bit. Like there's a button that shows and hides the resources. I mean, it's not terrible, but you know, it is what it is. And why? Oh, I see. It's giving me the warnings because I changed the settings. So manage supplies, right? You have burning, so you can either burn or eat materials. But the problem is your materials that you can either burn or eat are also the materials you use to craft. That's an issue. Potentially a big issue, because if we look at these guys, yeah, see, they start with like 3 different types of wood. 2 of these, I think it's these 2. Yeah, this is regular wood, okay. And meat. This is elven wood and dark wood. Those are both rare. You can't even get those yet. But they'll burn them if you want, if you let them. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of annoying. Because they'll basically be like, oh, this thing that's super unique and hard to get, I'll just throw it on the fire because, you know, we'll just burn it. You got your levels. So she's really good at gathering. These 2, well, not so much. I don't even know what she does. She is a warrior. Okay, that makes sense. So we have a warrior, a craftsman, and 2 gatherers. Stick her there. I think that's a girl. That's a dude. Doesn't matter. And you see how long, it takes for them to actually get stuff. So we'll assign them to gather. This is my little group of people. And, right. So my medic doesn't even start with a weapon equipped. But to be fair, this is, 220? He only has 100. He can't even equip anything, so it doesn't... Not super important. Okay. Theodore basically wanted me to go here. So we'll just go talk to him. Search location. Boom.
Theodore welcomes you.
Now,
well, hello there.
Something that I've noticed, and something that's pretty amazing, is all of these quests are voiced. Like, that is, to me, that's just amazing. This could just be text, but they actually spent the time and the money to actually get someone to voice it and voice act it pretty decently. So that's pretty neat. I mean, like I say, the game's not bad. It's I like it. It does have its significant flaws, but it's a decent game. So you can choose what now. And this is blue. If you've played FTL, it's kind of the same thing. Like, your default is the normal color. Blue is sort of your special, unlocked by certain stats that you have, or special equipment, or whatever. This is not normally allowed, which is weird because this is the tutorial, but whatever. This is what I'm curious about. The 5 options unavailable. Like, this is the tutorial at the beginning of the game. What options am I missing? I mean, I know one of the gods you can choose is actually the god of the darkness. Like, the whole point is the world basically ended, and it's starting to recover, and you can actually play, eventually, as the big bad, right? So he probably has something. But we'll choose what now.
Events such as meeting.
And this is the tutorial, right? So events occur.
Many events will ask you to bring
You
stuff.
can gather.
Good. Now events can
Go to Boris, and by doing this, this little phase of the quest, you get experience and research. Research is right there. You get an extra. You get to unlock something once that's full, and unfortunately, that does go up over time. We can unlock one of these things. Look at all that stuff. I don't even know what we use this for. But there's all sorts of different weapons and armor, construction. It's crazy. I'm just going to pick this. Light armor. And there's some of the materials that you need. You need to fill in all these slots if you want to craft anything. But each, you need a primary, a secondary, and a catalyst, so you don't have to have, bone, wood, leather, and amber. You can have some leather, some wood, some yarn or string or whatever that is. Okay, well, now that you've spent your only research point, let's go after those boars, and that'll show us basically the combat. Or the combat system. Oh, we can't do anything this turn. Fair enough. So, yeah, I mean, it's very, very similar to normal.
Thea is not an easy place to grow up in.
Oh, here we go.
Alas,
One of our kids has grown.
One of your children has matured into a young adult and is ready to join your village and rebuild Thea.
So, you get your main 3 unlocks from the beginning. You have your warrior, your gatherer, and your crafter. 13 is unavailable. That would be like your witches and I think medics and other stuff. I have no idea. We'll pick gatherer.
Becoming an adult is an important rite of passage.
Get some experience. And it's weird because, so the first game that I played, I don't know, I played for like 4 hours, never got a child to grow up. And now here, it's like the first turn, boom, child. You have an extra villager. So we got some vegetables, we got some wood. Someone's slacking around. Of course, it's the new person. And what do we want? Let's go with, I don't know, wood. Now I think the main person gets their full allotment of points or whatever towards gathering that stuff, and all the rest get like half or a quarter or something. Basically, they help. They don't really do much. But, you know, it's fine. Oh, and there was a chest there. Now there's enemies there. There's probably still a chest. But we're not going to do that yet. Let's go after the boars, because that's the quest.
You find the boars Theodore told you about. There is only a couple, so it should not be too hard. However, instead of a straight fight, you can try to do a proper hunt. If you have the right skills, that is. Or better yet, you can go all native on these beasties and wrestle them to the ground. Not an easy option, that one.
Right, so you can wrestle them, you can fight them, you can always come back later. And then this one is actually hunting. If you have that special ability, you can hunt, and it actually makes the difficulty easier. So like there's 1 to 5, and 1 is the easiest, obviously, and 5 is the hardest. And so having the special abilities sometimes gets you better things, or makes the fights easier. Now, something that's interesting is it gives you the ability to do a physical challenge versus a fight. Fighting does give you more loot, more gear and equipment and drops, but your guys can take wounds. So they can also, I mean, they not only damage, but actual wounds as well, which carry with them a chance for your guys to die permanently. And since you can't just create more people, it's sort of RNG based, then, you know, for me, it's just not worth it. Maybe it's worth it later in the game, but I mean, you can have a character you've built up all game, and, you know, lots of skills and the best person in your party, and if you do a fight, they could die. Just like that. And you might not even have the chance to decide whether you want to fight or not, because if enemies attack you, enemies will want to fight. So it's always better to, you know, be the first one to attack, and then probably to choose these because you don't have to worry about it so much. I realize I'm talking a lot. Hopefully this isn't too boring, but you know, if it's an actual fight, you get the list of like the enemies themselves. But if it's not a fight, and see, it doesn't give you the chance to back out and select your thing. It's either resolve or go for it. For physical, what is this? And these are all the things and what they do. Your different stats, like that's dexterity, which will give you the ability to shield an ally. So this is the combat. It's a card game. If you've played, was it Fallout New Vegas and the Caravan game? That's kind of how it is. Not at all. Not at all like that. But you'll see. You know what? I'll reshuffle these two guys. You know what? That's fine. We'll keep it. So randomly they choose who gets to go first. They get to move. And so, I mean, look at this. 9 defense or health, 12 health, 7 health. This one has 16 health and does 7 per hit. So I'm a little hurting. So I guess to start with, we could try... I only have 1 card that I can play. Let's try... man, I don't know. Let's do you. They'll survive 1 attack and then be able to do some damage. And then I have to go to the next turn. I don't have a choice. The way that it works is you each play down cards and then you start from left to right. And then you get lucky, hopefully. Okay, so let's try see, these guys are in the tactical slot, so if we place them down, they don't get their first turn. We'll try confuse. And we'll try counter tactic. Okay, so that worked. So that I get rid of that one from the battle for now. Yeah, see, they just placed... wow, I'm losing my voice already. Probably because of the coffee. Well, and all the allergies. So they place one of their tactical cards, and so they're confused for the first turn, basically. That's fine. We'll do this. And I can play the rest of my cards because they don't have any, so I'll just place these, and hopefully no one gets killed. It's kind of random. They say they can attack a card to the left or the right, but it's kind of random who your guys decide they want to attack. Usually it doesn't work out. See, they're basically toast. And then you basically go on until someone wins or loses. So I've lost a card, but I'm back sort of in the fray still. So I get to go first. Boom. He's out. Yeah, what is that? The heart? Poison. Okay, so they do poison damage. But, you know, the person that I lost, if this was a real fight, they'd be dead. Or at least have taken enough wounds so that next turn they're gonna die. But since it's a physical challenge, they won't. So you can already kind of see, you know, that it's pretty significant to not do those normal, you know, to choose the non-fight options. So we'll just kind of let this play out, and hopefully I win. And also something to note, right? They're attacking the discard pile, because that's still a card in play.
You wrestled with boars and won. You still had
Right
to
on,
use
so I
20
got some
things to
leather,
finish
some
them
bone,
off,
and
but
some
this
meat.
was quite a-
Okay, and some experience. Boom. And all my characters are still alive. Let's head back to Theodore, because he wanted those bones.
Theodore
Yep,
welcomes
we
you.
have the bones.
Wonderful.
And so he
Well
gives me
done.
food as a
And keep
reward.
your- So, you've discovered that
Okay,
some events
and
will
then
let you
you can-
solve a... Sure. Firstly,
Right.
you can always ask
Tells
me
you a
for
little
my
bit
tips
about the
again.
battles.
Reset the tutorial in the help menu. But just to give you some of
Oh.
the core tips...
Okay, see, I thought he was
initiative
wrong
is
about this. They
randomly
attack the
rolled at
closest enemy on
start of
either
each challenge,
side.
So you have no
That's,
control
although,
over
no,
this.
that's not always true.
Your party, practice makes perfect.
Okay.
You-
Oh, that's where we're supposed to go next, but that's across an ocean. I'm not actually sure how we're gonna get there. Okay. Let's go for these guys then, because, yeah, my guys can't swim, as far as I know. See, X, you can't, nope. And, I realize we're only on basically turn 3, but as far as I know, this is basically the game. Right? So, I mean, that's a little weird. It's, this is basically the whole game, just, you know, move your guys, challenge, do quests, that sort of thing. But it's not... Don't get me wrong, there are times when it is... where I'm super bored when I'm playing it. And so I'll stop. But I still want to play more. That doesn't make any sense, I realize that. But, that's just how it is. It's compelling, even though it can be incredibly boring at times. I have no other way to explain it. So we just attacked. We can fight, or we can do sickness. You saw the non-fight challenge, which is basically this. Let's show you guys the actual fight challenge. So there's deformed bats that we can fight, so let's fight them. And as you can see, my guys all have different stats now, like 19 over 19, 10, some shielding. It's because this is an actual fight. So this guy, my medic, is super weak. In the previous thing, no, that was actually a physical challenge as well. Stuff like sickness or whatever. Can I right-click on him? No? Okay. There's some challenges that will prioritize like medical stuff like brewing poisons or whatever. And that's where this guy shines, because he has poison related stuff or medical abilities. So bats are playing, and we'll put him out because he has a lot of shielding. And this will actually, it's like it's a shield. It'll block without without him taking damage. So I can put 2. Let's put her. After this, I'll probably stop. I think you guys, if you watch this whole thing, you've probably gotten the gist of the game, and I feel like that's probably it's, I mean, basically this is the game, straight up. It's how it is. It's just like, no, it's not just like any other game. It's very different. It's not it's not cohesive. You stick all these different games in a blender and something came out, and it's not good all the time. But in this case, it's decent, and it's compelling enough generally that I like it. And even though, like I said, I'm bored some of the time, I still have fun playing it. So we won the fight, and nobody took any wounds. We got some meat, and we have a ring of some kind, which will boost your stats, experience, and research. And then we can still go search.
You stumble across some ruins of an old city, engulfed in mist and mystery.
See, this is what interests me. There's 4 options unavailable. You can search, which carries some danger, but there's 4 other options.
You search the abandoned abodes,
right,
and open some old dusty cellar.
Yep.
As the heavy doors crack, you are swarmed by some crazed bats.
Right, so 7 enemies this time. Okay. No, let's try reshuffling. And the reshuffle is random, so you can screw yourself over. I'll put him out. What is this? Leech. Gain life. Okay. So, yeah, you search, and sometimes you have to fight, and sometimes you don't. And, yeah, yeah. What is this? She's got a broom. Okay. So she's probably like a gatherer or something. And, yeah, honestly, this went on longer than I expected. I didn't expect the video to get to almost 40 minutes. Honestly, I thought 20 minutes, but that's just kind of the way of these games, It's like, just one more turn, and then next thing you know, it's 4 in the morning. So there you are. Alright, and then the fight. Fate goes, fight goes, whatever. I don't know if I'm going to get any wounds. Oh, well, I mean, you guys saw them on the previous one, so I guess there's no point in me necessarily getting them.
You search the buildings and discover.
But see, we got a decent amount of stuff that time. Boom, and 2 experience. That's good. Now let me just... If I did go to current score, we'd get 2 experience. I mean, that's not really a shock, because we only went 2 turns or whatever. But I'm going to stop here, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I can't recommend it, but at the same time I can't not recommend it, if that makes sense. Normally I think it's $20. I picked it up for 10 because it was half off on a sale. And, I've already played over 10 hours, so I'd say that was a reasonable price. With how I feel about it at the moment, I do feel like it's kind of limited at the beginning, but I'm hoping that as the game progresses, it opens up. I feel like like I feel like it's kind of limited at the very beginning because you just have your village and you have your one party. And I feel like as you get more people, you can do more. So I'm hoping the game does, you know, kind of expand a little bit. But I think the basic gameplay is just going to be that, you know, go out for resources, find events, do the little card games. And I'm more or less okay with that. Interface is a little bit clunky, but, you know, that's fine. You just deal with it. And what are you doing, Manny? Why are you trying to move the mouse? He wants to eat again, even though he ate like an hour ago. But that's Thea the Awakening. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've played it and you're interested in it, or what. And the new one comes out this month. I think it's this month. Pretty sure. That's why they had the sale, I think. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And until then, take care, guys.